Hello YouTube, hello Twitch. We are back now with the final summarization of my opinion on the Steelville event, what to get which ships. So, in the last 2 days, I've played a lot of Aki, I played a lot of Hawaii, and I played a lot of Bremen. To tell you my personal opinion, which ships I think are worth getting, or which one I would go first after playing them now pretty much a lot. And first of all, to make it a real quick summarization, I think all of them are pretty good ships. Straight up. All of them are in a lot of ways pretty strong. But for my close opinion on also Valparaiso, if you want to just go for the most brutal power, and you just want to, in my opinion, the way most overperforming ship, then it's still Valpa. Aki is extremely strong, Hawaii is extremely strong, and Bremen are extremely strong. They are really good ships. But are they as overtuned as Valparaiso? No, they aren't. So if you want my opinion on what I think is the strongest ship and what should definitely get crazily nerfed, it would definitely be Valpa, but it's not getting nerfed, so it's out of the equation. So, we start with Aki. Now, after playing a couple of games, or what means a couple of games, I played each of them like over 10 games now, so my opinion is set there. After playing with Aki quite a lot, I noticed what I expected. It definitely does handle like a Yamato in the end. You have the same hull. The guns are technically a bit more accurate than standard Yamato, but you're always only gonna use 6 because obviously you're missing one gun in the less. That means you can get from time to time a bit less consistency that you would like to. But this is compensated with, of course, having also overmatch and also a bit better reload. This ship has 24.6 second reload instead of 26 or 30, depending if you run the unique upgrade or not. So the guns are still decent enough. And of course the hull is exactly like Yamato besides having the flight back here. Now, I noticed playing with the planes two things. First of all, the footage you are seeing on YouTube today, which it will be published today as well, before this video. This video is gonna be at night, and before it will be the Aki video after my stream. So you will see the Aki video first on YouTube. The planes you're about to see are not final. It's an attack squad of 6, what you see in the gameplay with Aki. However, when Aki is gonna be released on the patch, it will have 8 planes per squad. That means you have 20% more striking power pretty much. Instead of dropping 12 bombs, you drop 16. Or instead of having 6 planes in an attack run, it's gonna be 8. Now, the planes have a pretty long reload. However, the Alpha Strike, if you can land them, and it's not that hard to land them, to be honest. You can land them really good on BBs, you can land them on cruisers. Hell, you can even hit DDs quite well with these bombs. It's enormous. If you manage to get the strike perfectly on target, there's often gonna be 15 plus K numbers visible. And that's with the striking power right now. Again, once the ship is gonna be released, you will have even more potential damage because you will drop 4 more bombs. Or even if you don't drop the 4 more bombs because you lose some planes, you will have more 2 more planes which are still there, which you would have usually lost. So whatever you see from these strikes on my YouTube video, just imagine it's gonna be on average around 25% more damage in that regard. So my final verdict about it is, I think it's a very powerful ship. I think the plane strike is crazy good if you can land it. It works against everything. I don't think you're gonna see in the YouTube video really like seeing me working it against DDs. I don't think I used it there, but I played today the ship a couple of times and we absolutely smashed DDs with this as well. So if you get the line on target, you will definitely hit DDs with it as well. And overall, it's a very strong hybrid. Just as I mentioned in my video, please be sure to not sit at spawn and park next to the CV and only use the planes. Please use it actively in battle. You will thank me later. You will get way better results. So use the guns. It's still a Yamato. And also, if you have to push for your team, push for your team. Don't sit in the spawn. Again, utilize your guns, because as strong as the plane squadron is, it does have a 3-minute, or not 3-minute, but it has like quite a long reload time. It's not like Hildebrand that you can launch plane after plane after plane. So keep that in mind. And also, don't be afraid to not necessarily... I learned that only today. But don't be afraid to not use your plane squad instantly. I found out today, I didn't even know about it. It has 2 plane squads. Or it has a hangar of 12, aka 16 on patch day, instead of only 1 hangar. That means, let's see you in a more tight situation, you need to use your main guns. You don't have time to use your first plane squad instantly. It doesn't matter, because if you don't use it, the second plane squad is already charging as well. So even if you don't use it instantly, you don't actively lose damage output, as long as the second squad is not ready. You can check this by pressing Alt, by the way, what's the status of the second squad. Of course, you can also launch the planes instantly once they're ready. The second squad is also going to be charged then eventually. Just keep that in mind. It's not 1 squad. That means as long as you don't have both squads reloaded, you won't lose actually downtime on the planes. So Aki definitely recommended, extremely strong hybrid if you just don't sit next to the CV and only use planes. Please, for the love of God, support your team with the main guns. It's still 6 Yamato main guns with better reload. Next up, we have the Bremen. Now the Bremen is exactly what I expected it to be. Übermines. You've seen my video on it. I think it's a very strong ship. We are averaging, let me lie right now chat, but my chat was kind of paying attention to it, or certain viewers. We're averaging around 160k per game, which is a crazy number. I think I've barely played a cruiser that's this consistent. The damage output of this thing is absolutely insane. Like, the damage output of this thing, like, if people push into you, sure, you cannot play necessarily that aggressive, because it's still a heavy cruiser from the armor point of view. But the damage output, especially if you get the broadsides with the AP, can be disgusting. And even on normal BBs, 38mm HE pen means that, for example, French BBs, most British BBs, and also American BBs can get chunked down quite a bit. You also have, not only do you have an insane reload of 4.7 seconds, but you also have a really good fire chance of 10%, which should not be underestimated. There will be possibilities that people can use this ship with lighthouse builds for crazy amount of damage. Keep one thing in mind. I only tested the ship without Lutyens. I don't have Lutyen. I couldn't use Lutyens on the ship, unfortunately. We would have triggered him every game. Every game with Bremen, we would have triggered Lutyens today and yesterday. Because you need 140 shellets, which is extremely easy to get with 16 guns and 4.7 second reload. So again, everything you saw about Bremen in my YouTube video, imagine 7.5% better reload pretty much constantly. Besides obviously the first 3-4 minutes where we need to get the hits. But you will trigger Lutyen's main gun reload on the ship unless you get Death Strike at the beginning pretty much every game. So that's a crazy good buff pretty much every game you play with the ship. It's a really, really good ship. You all you gotta be really pay attention to is high caliber BBs, just like with Hindenburg. And of course, don't expect to get crazy amount of citadels, because these are 150s. If you shoot BBs at close ranges, aim for the upper bells or aim for the bow and stern to get these juicy 10k of 5, 6, 7, 8. Even hence, my record was a 19k salvo on a Libertad. But to get these juicy numbers, you need to have flat broadsides and you need to aim for the upper bells. Citadels are only super close range things on cruisers, but you will not Citadel BBs or something with it. Just aim for the upper belts, you will get a crazy amount of damage. And of course, if they're angled, you can force DCPs. Overall, very, very good ship. And one thing that's also underestimated, pretty much for a lot of people probably, the torpedoes are amazing. We have really good firing angles forward, really good firing angles backwards. The reload is long, but you have 10 of them. And they have good range. Decent damage. The only thing they're kind of bad is speed, but that's compensated for also having pretty good stealth values. So overall, heavy recommendation on Bremen as well. Now, I didn't expect it at the beginning. I was thinking that Bremen is probably gonna be my favorite ship, but I was wrong. Hawaii is my favorite pick from the Steelville event. This ship is nuts. This ship is a lot of fun to play. Let me explain why. First of all, you have an F ton of HP. You have 80k, with a build like this here right now, as an example. You have 80k of HP. You're having an Alaska hull for all sake of purposes with a different superstructure. And you have so many guns. You can use 9 of these turrets. 8 to 7 like in most scenarios. The firing angles of the ship are amazing. Backwards and forward you basically lose no firepower, and if you show broadside you can of course use 9 of these Austin turrets or American turrets because they don't have SAP, but the amount of damage you can pull out with these guns scales the closer you get. Now, the ship has 18.3 km range and has pretty easy to aim guns at that range. Like the shell velocity is good. But here's the twist. This ship can be played like no other cruiser in the game when it comes to using terrain to your advantage. Because while you can play the ship in the open and use the range and farm people down pretty accurately, in close range you can make use of your F key, which gives you way less range. 12.5 km, but super floaty shells. And these super floaty shells means suddenly you can lob over islands where you would not be able to lob without the F key. On top of that, you get insane amount of fire, like your insane amount of reload buff then. And yes, if you press the F key, I can show it to you now in port because I didn't go into the Hawaii video on purpose, on detail on it. You will lose fire chance, 4%. You will also lose a bit of armor piercing damage, but you're not losing any HE damage. And you get an enormous buff of, I think it's 43.3% firing rate. Like, you get an enormous reload buff. And what this means is, with the floaty shells in close combat, you can chunk down people crazily. You can outtrade a lot of ships. Even if you're in the open, you can outtrade a lot of ships in the game, as long as they don't like get you Citadel or something with a high caliber BB. But that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I would even, when it comes to DD fights, I would not recommend using this F key unless they're at like 5 km or something, because without it, you still have a solid reload of 5.3 and the guns are so fast that it's super easy to kill DDs. Like, you need to understand, you have 9 turrets that you can constantly use pretty much. That's 18 shells. The amount of DD players we killed today with 5-6k volleys on this boat is crazy. You will actually see a perfect example of it. I will upload another Hawaii video where we had a very nice game on Two Brothers, so you're gonna see that tomorrow. When this video is published, you're gonna see it the day afterwards. So for DDs, I would mainly use the normal mode because it's way easier to lead. But for example, if you are farming BBs at close range and you can utilize the terrain, this F key is strong. Like, there's no other ship that can use terrain and at the same time doesn't need to use. Like, it's hard to explain it, but the ability to switch your firing angles, the arcs, is crazy strong. We noticed that today. So fun-wise and effective-wise, this is an extremely strong ship. You gotta remember though, you have an Alaska hull, so you are kind of durable, but at the same time you can get overmatched by most BBs. And you can also be citadeled. You are not invulnerable. This is not a Puerto Rico citadel underwater. It's actually water lines. So if you show broadside and a BB shoots you at 15 km in your sight, you will get citadeled. But again, enormous amount of HP. Crazy good DPM. Like, it's absurd, the DPM. And again, all you have seen was without Halsey. So once the ship is going to be released and we're going to farm some Confederates, there's gonna be even more spicy reload. This thing was a ton of fun, and if I have to choose, my first steel ship is gonna be Hawaii. It's not gonna be Bremen, it's gonna be Hawaii, and then it would be Bremen and then Aki. Just playability wise, but they're all really, really strong. Now for you guys, it's up to you what you want from the ships. If you want the most power, go like the most OP ship, go Valparaiso. The other 3, depending if you like the playstyle or not, are really 3 excellent choices though. And I hope you enjoyed the videos on them. I'm gonna play them more on patch day as well and so on. But I just wanted to give you this as a little summarization. Now, You noticed I skipped I-5644 and I skipped Le Havre. The main reason for that is, if you want to see my thoughts on these ships, you can look it up. The B.A. Utna-Pushkin, which has been in the game for 3 months, and the B.A. Arona's Whale. These are exactly the same ships. This is just the historic counterparts and not like the weep stuff, but it's exactly the same ship. And when it comes to Le Havre, for example, I think it's a fun boat. It has a very unique playstyle as well. But when it comes to pure combat effectiveness, I don't think it's nowhere near as good as Valpa, Aki, Hawaii, and Bremen. It's a fun, hilarious ship though. If you want to see more about the Le Havre, check my YouTube video about B.A. Utna-Pushkin. And when it comes to Arona's Whale, aka I-5644, it can have insane amount of damage output as a submarine, but it does suffer from extremely bad conceal. And once you fight a rather decent German or American or Soviet submarine captain in the enemy team, then you will have a rough time because they outspot you crazily. They also can use the submarine surveillance more crazily against you, and you will generally have a really hard time. That being said, I-56 still has insane torpedo damage output, so keep that in mind. But it's not the conventional submarine that takes sub-to-sub fights. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What I gotta say to the Steelville event. My first pick Hawaii, then Bremen and Aki, but they're all really good ships on their own. So depending what kind of ship class you're looking for, what kind of gameplay. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out on the YouTube channel as well. And I'll see you next time.